Hi, you're watching Nerdy News on VideoGamesBlogger.com. I'm your host Laura, and today I'll be filling you in on the latest in gaming news. A recent ruling by a New Jersey judge allows video game maker EA to use NCAA players' likenesses for free. U.S. District Judge Freda Wolfson has ruled that Electronic Arts does not have to pay ex-Rutgers quarterback Ryan Hart and others for using their images in its popular NCAA football video game. According to Judge Wolfson, the interactive nature of video games means that the First Amendment protects EA from having to pay to use player images. The decision clashes with a California ruling last year that sided with players led by Sam Keller, an ex-quarterback for Nebraska and Arizona State, and sets the stage for an appeal of when content creators must pay to use real-life characters in video games. The New Jersey ruling, if upheld, is a big break for EA and others because it saves them from paying right of publicity royalties to athletes, payments based on a law that gives celebrities the right to control their images. The key to the judge's decision Friday is the fact that the video game allows players to transform aspects of the character, such as their haircuts, and to choose the environment they play in. Thanks to a letter of frustration by a teenage girl, the NHL video games will now have female players. A female player option will be present in NHL 12. NHL video game creators have decided to introduce female characters in the game after they received a letter which opened their eyes regarding the needs of their clients. 14-year-old Lexi Peters is a fan of the NHL games, but became frustrated with the fact that when playing, she could not create a female character. Advised by her father, she sent letters of protest to Peter Moore, EA Sports COO, calling the lack of gender option unfair to women and girl hockey players around the world. Her letters were analyzed and sent to executive producer of the NHL series, David Litterman, who agreed with Lexi. In order to repay the 14-year-old who had the courage to stand for an idea she believed was right, the creators of the game asked her for several photos of her face in order to create a character that looks exactly like her. Now for a story that's near and dear to my heart, Angry Birds addiction. Well, technically it would be Angry Birds compulsion, as video games aren't physically addictive, but let's not mince words. 82% of Angry Birds players suffer from Angry Birds addiction syndrome, according to a recent survey. While it seems few people are safe from Angry Birds addiction, there is a demographic segment of the population who will be more likely to fall victim to its allure. Single young men, be warned. You're not only more likely to suffer from Angry Birds addiction, but you're also more likely to buy paid versions of the game. In fact, you're 76% more likely than older women. Michael Clorest, PhD, explains that Angry Birds actually elicits a neurophysical response in players. He refers to Angry Birds as a masterpiece of addictiveness because it's simple, realistic, rewarding, and funny, but it's also a terrific manipulator of the brain's dopamine system. In layman's terms, dopamine is triggered in a person when something happens that is usually followed by some kind of reward. For Angry Birds, this scenario would be firing a bird and being rewarded with crashing pieces, screaming birds, and popping pigs. There is anticipation in the mix because players never know exactly what's going to happen when the birds hit their targets. As Clorist explains, that uncertainty creates a tension, craves a release. It makes you want to do whatever it is that creates the release. In other words, it makes you want to pull that slingshot and launch more birds. In the survey, only 24% of players indicated that they have already deleted Angry Birds app or consider deleting it so they won't play it anymore. The other 76% in the survey have no plans to stop playing anytime soon. Now for some games releasing this week. Gears of War 3 is a highly anticipated third-person shooter for the Xbox 360. Gears of War 3 has made over 1 million pre-orders and is one of the most anticipated games of 2011. It is the third installment of the Gears of War series and the final game in the current story arc. Gears of War 3 will feature 4-player co-op for the first time in the series. A fully controllable mech suit called Silverback will be available for use in certain parts of the game, armed with machine gun and rocket launchers. They have two operating modes. In Assault mode, it is controlled like a standard character. In Stationary mode, they lock onto a position and deploy their armor, as well as cover for other gears. The player will once again play as Marcus Phoenix, although at several points throughout the game, control will change to other characters. 4 new playable female characters will be introduced, as well as characters from the Gears novels and comic series. There will also be an enhanced progression system, with players able to gain experience and level up through all modes, including the campaign. That's all the news I have for today. Feel free to leave any questions or comments below. Love and peace from my PC to yours.